Hey everybody, it's Mike Gap, and today we're going to go through my $40,000 Questrade stock portfolio. Currently, I have $38,700 in my Questrade TFSA account with $6,000 in cash and roughly around $1,450 in my margin account. We will go through biotech, evergreen tech stocks, gold stocks, and cannabis stocks. Just before I begin, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm and don't forget to subscribe. Alright, so first is biotech stocks. I personally believe biotech stocks are the next big thing. It's not a huge part of my portfolio, around 2.89%. Honestly, if I had more cash, I would definitely put more into this, but unfortunately, due to the lack of cash and the high risk in terms of low profits in the short term, I've only put very little. Anyways, I do see biotech stocks growing in the long term, especially within the next 5 to 10 years. This is due to new patents, new products, and new medical discoveries. The companies that I'm currently invested into are Crispr therapeutics, one share with an average price of $117 US, Moderna with an average price of $168, and Johnson & Johnson with an average price of $170. There are other good companies such as Novo Nordisk, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, Alexion Pharmaceuticals, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Arc Genomic Revolution ETF, 23andMe. Anyways, there's a lot more, so do your own research when picking any of these stocks. Anyways, why is biotech so big? Simply because we want to live longer and live longer pain-free, reduce rates of cancer, better cancer treatment, better autoimmune disease treatments, and those who are disabled, whether mentally or physically, can have a better life, or possibly getting those disabilities fully fixed. And with new technological advancements such as the Crispr gene editing tool, MRNA, biological-based microrobots, and etc., this will allow us to live longer. And I think living longer and living longer without pain is something that everybody wants. So I can see a lot of people investing into this. We already have Richard Branson investing into 23andMe under the NASDAQ ticker ME, and along with Bill Gates investing tons of money into vaccine research, especially for viruses such as Ebola. So medicine and biology as a whole has allowed people to live longer than ever. And this scenario will keep on happening as long as research and development is growing. And this is why biotech is going to be so huge. The next stock is gold related. I'm not invested in gold like the physical gold, but I am invested in gold related stocks, specifically mining stocks. I know boomers really love talking about gold. I'm the cash man. I'll give you money for your gold. Young people, not too much. And in the West, gold is not really appreciated, like a little bit, but not really. The average person does not really care too much about gold in the West, but it's definitely a big mineral that we use a lot of. Outside of jewelry, gold holds a lot of important value in the technological world. It is one of the best conductors due to being a very stable molecule, non-corrosive, and long-lasting. And it's finite in its resources. Like, we can't make gold right now. Like, we can, but not really. It's super expensive, super radioactive. So the only way to get gold is by mining it. And with the rapid growth of computers, medical devices, and hardware, gold is becoming more and more important every single day. Gold is also used as a hedge against economies, especially in second and third world countries where they're not as stable, such as Ukraine, Iran, or Venezuela. In these areas of the world, it probably makes sense to hold a portfolio of your assets in physical gold, simply because if the housing market in those areas fall or the currency falls or devalues, you still have gold, which will not devalue. If anything, will rise in appreciation. And so if something happens, you still have gold. But I don't like physical gold because I live in the Western world and it's kind of hard to liquidate physical gold. You most likely will get ripped off because most people who buy and sell gold in Canada or the United States don't really give you the best rates. I'm the cash man. I'll give you money for your gold. And you don't have many options to choose from. So I would rather invest into gold mining stocks. That way I can easily liquidate it if I need to, simply through the stock market. Anyways, I have Karora Resources Inc. as my main gold mining stock. It was previously known as RNC or Royal Nickel Corporation. The reason why I have a huge chunk of my portfolio in KRR, around 68.75% or $20,000 as my initial investment, is because I see KRR extremely undervalued. And with that alone, I think it's a great, reasonable, logical stock to invest into to make a lot of gains. Simply because it's a profitable mine, they found a lot of gold, and it has a PE ratio of 6.25, which is way lower compared to other gold mining or mineral mining stocks that have the same production rate and same profit rate. The average PE of those companies is roughly around 15 to 16 plus. So just based on that information alone, KRR should be worth somewhere between $8 to $14, but it's currently trading at $3.91. I am currently up around $2,384 or 14%. However, I have seen this going up and down. I was down to like $12,000, I was up to $50,000. So this is definitely a high risk stock that fluctuates a lot, but I definitely see this in the long term growing. So I've held the stock for 2 years and I'm definitely holding it for the next 5 years for sure. I definitely see this as the next Kirkland Gold. Let me know what you guys think about KRR. It's definitely a hidden gem that no one really knows about too much. If you want to know more information on it, go to ceo.ca/KRR, and also multi-millionaires in that chat forum discussing about KRR along with a bunch of other Canadian mining stocks. And by the way, anyone can invest into it. You don't have to be a Canadian, you can be American too. The next batch of stocks is Evergreen Tech Stocks. There are a ton of these Evergreen Tech stocks, so if I don't name them, it doesn't necessarily mean I don't like it or I don't want to invest to it. Trust me, if I had more money, I would be investing more and more into these stocks along with BioTech Stocks. So my Questrade portfolio, I have Apple, Adobe, Google, Microsoft, PayPal, and Netflix. They currently make up 17.33% of my Questrade portfolio, around $4,600 US current value. The reality is tech is being used more and more. Like everybody in the world owns a smartphone. If not, sooner or later they will. I've seen people in the middle of nowhere with a smartphone. People in poverty are getting access to technology. Tech is heavily integrated into our lifestyles. Tech is growing exponentially, therefore I see a lot of growth in dividends and appreciation of these stocks, especially within the next 5 to 20 years. I'm going to be holding on these for as long as possible as it makes sense to me. So the first stock I own is Apple. I own 3 shares with an average price of $128 US. Apple is amazing for its computers, phones, and all of its subsidiaries. And its latest banger is its own M1 chip, which is basically its own GPU, CPU processor. This allows an individual to get access to like a $13,000 computer for only $1,000. Obviously, it's still expensive, but now it gives anyone who has $1,000 or $2,000 to have access to a mean, lean video editing machine, or a 3D rendering machine, or a music production machine, or basically it's Hollywood level production, and it's really cheap relative to what it was prior. So Apple's gonna be in the game for the next 5 to 10 years. I don't see them slowing down at all. Next is Adobe. I own 1 share at $501 US. Almost every company, university, employee, YouTuber uses one of their softwares, whether Adobe Acrobat, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe InDesign, Adobe Lightroom, Adobe After Effects, Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe Sign, Adobe Dreamweaver, Magento.
7 hours later.
And along with a bunch of other softwares that they have. And I still see people and companies continuing to use Adobe softwares, so I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. And so Adobe is going to continue to grow really well. Next is Google. I own 1 share of Google at $2,427 US. If almost everybody uses Adobe, then imagine how many people use a Google product. pretty much everybody uses a Google product. Google pretty much owns the internet. Google.com and YouTube.com are the top websites in the world. And they offer so many softwares, tools, and services that I can never see Google dying or becoming bankrupt. They're so diversified and they own so many different patents, technologies that it's not going anywhere anytime soon at all. Google is here to stay, and Google is always innovating and creating new products and or services. Google is huge, and I would definitely own one share of Google if you don't own any as of right now, because Google is going to continue to grow. Next is Microsoft. I own one share of Microsoft at $252. Similar to Apple, Microsoft provides amazing computers, hardware, and services, gaming, and obviously all of its subsidiaries. I don't see Microsoft anytime soon not growing. It's going to be a relevant company for the next 10 years. Next is PayPal. I own one share at $259 US. PayPal is more like a fintech company and or an e-com company. They basically provide a hassle-free way for buyers and sellers to buy and sell services and goods online, benefiting both consumers and merchants. Almost every web store and future web store currently offers PayPal as a payment solution. PayPal will continue to grow as e-commerce gets bigger and bigger, and e-commerce hasn't even settled into its final stages. It's still a little fetus growing. E-commerce is so tiny and it has a lot of potential, and therefore PayPal has a lot of potential in the future. And then we have Netflix. I own one share of Netflix with an average price of $506 US. This is probably my riskiest position out of all the other tech stocks, simply because many people see Netflix not being able to grow anymore. And it doesn't help that it has beefy competitors such as Disney Plus, Hulu, or HBO Max. But I still see Netflix growing, simply because a huge chunk of Canadians, Americans, along with other countries are still watching cable and satellite TV. Once Netflix takes over these people or over those users, I see gigantic growth. And let's be real, nobody likes cable TV ads, and nobody wants to continually watch SpongeBob, Frasier, and Seinfeld every day, all day. I'm pretty sure we want to watch other things by now. At least I do. So Netflix is here to stay, and it's still going to be a relevant company. And Netflix is also tunneling its way into other countries and incorporating their media there too. So I see worldwide domination with Netflix. And so it's still a relevant and profitable company that's going to appreciate its stock. And my last chunk of my stock portfolio is my cannabis stocks. They make up 11.71% of my portfolio. It would have been larger, but unfortunately I am bag holding. I currently own 38 shares of Aurora Cannabis, or ACB, at an average price of $156. 21 shares of Canopy Growth, or We.to, with an average price of $36.33, and 555 shares of Charlotte's Web, or CWeb, with an average price of $17. Like I said, I am bag holding, and I am holding a minor amount of wheat stocks in my margin account, roughly $1,400 worth. In total, I am down $12,000. These stocks are technically profit from my last trade in wheat stocks, so it's not really a loss, but it definitely feels like it. Anyways, the reason why I held a good chunk at all-time highs, because I saw the potential in cannabis in the future, especially with the US federally legalizing cannabis. Unfortunately, cannabis legalization in Canada is taking a long time to bear fruit. There are a lot of rules to follow, restrictions to abide, a lot of advertising rules, and security measures that are required. And all of these cause a lot of major setbacks for many Canadian cannabis companies, and also American ones too. And we're still not sure if the US is ever going to federally legalize cannabis. It seems like they will, it's just more so when. All I knew was if the US were going to federally legalize cannabis 2 years ago, I would have seen a total different picture in my Questrade stock portfolio. Since they didn't, many companies got too big too quick due to the anticipation of full-out legalization in Canada and the United States. But it didn't really happen, and so a lot of people are bag holding multiple cannabis stocks. Pretty much ACB, weed, and even CWIB are guilty of this. They got too big, too quick, and that kind of bit them in the butt. In the long term, I definitely see cannabis stocks being green. By long term, I mean 5 to 10 years, but only if legalization is fully incorporated in the US. So it's a bit of a waiting game. I would say my stock portfolio is on the riskier side of things. However, in the long term, I definitely see my portfolio growing as much as 3 to 6 times, if not more. Anyways, always do your own research. Only invest in what you can risk to lose. And don't let positive or negative hype make the decisions for you. So let me know in the comments section down below what you think about my stock portfolio. And also let me know any companies I should look into. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. This is Mike Gap signing out. I'll see you in my next video.